22 Township meeting to order. Please rise for the flag salute.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law by posting a notice of this meeting on the bulletin board in the municipal building and by faxing notice of the meeting to the Atlantic City Press, Star Ledger, Camden Courier, and Atlantic County Record on January the 7th, 2022. Mr. Chief?
Here.
Ms. Hopkins?
Here.
Mrs. Link?
Here.
Mr. Vitale?
Here.
Mayor King?
Here. All right, next we'll move on to private reflection. I'd ask you to join me for a moment for private reflection, please. All right, we'll move on to guest presentations. We have none, but we do have some very special guests this evening. The South Jersey Enforcers Beaver Ball Hockey Team and the South Jersey Enforcers Penguin Ball Hockey Team. So if you would come forward, come on up, guys, gals. Everybody, the tallest to shortest, what are we going to do here, right? All right. All right, here we go. Yeah, good. You want to stretch that banner out? Why don't you stand right in front here with another person? Hold that banner out, all right? So tonight we're celebrating their victories here. So it says, whereas the South Jersey Enforcers Beaver Ball Hockey Team and Penguin Ball Hockey Team are comprised of residents of the Township of Hamilton and surrounding communities who compete in the New Jersey National Ball Hockey League. And whereas on July 31st, 2022, the South Jersey Enforcers competed in the national tournament for the Mileck USA Ball Hockey Youth Cup in Winchendon, Massachusetts, bringing home the championship. All right. And the Beaver Division. And now, therefore, we, the Township Committee of the Township of Hamilton, County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey, on this day, August 15th, 2022, do hereby recognize the South Jersey Enforcers Ball Hockey Team. In honor of their remarkable accomplishments, the achievement is not only a credit to their hard work and dedication, but is a credit to the support they receive from their families, their friends, their coaches, and teammates. We congratulate the South Jersey Enforcers for winning the 2022 Mileck Ball Hockey Championship in both the Beaver Division and Penguin Division, and wish them the very best in the years to come. Now, we do have a list of names here. I will try to get through that. All right? So you have to work with me just a little bit on this one. Beaver Division players: Chase Anchetta, Liam Bagnell, Aiden Camp, Frank Ciambrone, that name sounds familiar, Gavin Cesar, Jaden Flick, Jackson Goodwin, Nicholas Marcello, Thomas McLaughlin, Gabrielle Osborne, Aiden Peters, Aiden Pilatus, Colin Ritchie, Ryan Sanford, that's not fun to laugh at, Joel Sharp, Chase Staley, and then, of course, the coaches, John Camp, Nick Pilatus, and Harry Staley. Next we have the Penguin Division. Players: Nick Aber, Noah Camp, Josh Kapp, Alana Chalanza, Nick Chalanza, Jojo Dorenzo, Max Legay, PJ Lahak, Zach McCullen, Parker McAvoy, Apollo Shaw, Josh now that's enough of the laughing. Josh Seckinger, Shane Winneberger, Beggar, and coaches John Camp, Ian Cap, and Scott Winberg.
Coaches over there, Coach Brown.
Can't reach the mic. I mean, Noah.
You can sing, I'll get music. All right. That was Steve. I'm not proud you are, you're not team winning.
Say we did really great, Noah.
Tell them how fun it was. What was some good times you had there?
Water park. The water park.
Anything else you want to say? All right. Congratulations, my man. Good job.
Betty. Come on, Betty. Betty. Oh, no. I want to get a Betty speech. Betty speech. Betty speech. No, I'm good.
Who wants to say thank you to all the parents for putting up with this and taking you everywhere, huh? Now, I got on three. A big thank you to our parents. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations, guys.
He forgot to give you guys the real one.
Oh, I didn't. I heard they went out already.
Let's take a picture here. And then, whoa, whoa.
Yep.
You guys don't want to see the public government's about? Where's everyone going? Hey, thank you.
Congratulations. That's great.
Congratulations. Good job. What's that? Yes. That's a traveling team, so I'm sure they go around.
Oh, by all means.
You see Marina and
Yeah.
Parker here?
Oh.
Looks like Mary Jo's here too.
That cleared the room.
All right, well, that was nice. It's always a pleasure to start these meetings with congratulations like that to our youth. And my son spent many years in that program, and it's a great program, so. All right, we'll move on to one addition, deletion of late agenda items. We have one item to be considered, which is 7A, a business registration. Motion for acceptance, please.
So moved.
Motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Next, we'll move on to early public comment on agenda items. Cynthia?
There's one, Aileen Dix on 7J, 7C, 6D, and 6E.
Okay. Ms. Dix?
I'm going to take redevelopment first, 7J and 7L. I'm sure you're aware that I filed an OPRA for the contract for redevelopment meetings. Starting again, I filed an OPRA last week for the contract that was awarded at reorganization for redevelopment attorney. In that contract is where I located the information regarding redevelopment. I can wait.
I'm fine, Ms. Dix.
In that contract, it spelled out that the Township Committee, by motion, resolution, or ordinance, can order redevelopment of whatever project you want to consider. In the alternative, paragraph 8 on page 2 says the administrator has the sole authority to order the redevelopment attorney, which is at taxpayer expense, to talk with potential projects. I asked for, and I'm not getting, the document, email, formal letter, whatever was sent from the administrator to authorize Mally Givens to engage in discussions with, because there's two on the agenda tonight, these two, I'm asking for that document. Did Mr. Kostecki, as the administrator, authorize these two redevelopment projects? Project is not what I'm getting at. I'm getting at the procedure, the process, the legality, and we're spending taxpayer money for the redevelopment attorney to start discussions.
Okay.
So,
Did you receive your OPRA, Ms. Dix? When did you OPRA it?
I'm getting an answer, but it's not the answer. We're ducking around that I'm getting the resolution from reorg and says that, no, that isn't it. Paragraph 8 in the contract on page 2 says the administrator has the power to authorize a conversation for redevelopment. That is expending the taxpayer money with the redevelopment attorney. So all I'm asking is, did you people get a copy? I'll word it this way. Did you people get a copy of any authorization that the administrator sent to Mally Givens on these two projects?
Ms. Dix, I don't recall receiving anything on that. But I know it's commonplace for us to be in workshops, attend workshops, and then come out with an understanding that we're going to move forward with the project.
These have not been on planning board or zoning board workshops.
Okay.
To give a comparison, the cotton mill, 2000.
Which, I'm sorry, wait a minute. J
and L
certainly-
both. I'm just taking them both together.
Well, hold on. You just made a statement. You said they have not been on planning board workshops. Trophy Park, J, was just on it.
You're right. They were just there on August 2nd.
Okay, so just to clarify, they were at a workshop.
August 2nd, Trophy Park was, but that is not Mally Givens. I'm sorry. That is after the fact that they would advance to a workshop stage. The comparison I'm making is the cotton mill in 2005. There were presentations, there were renderings, there was public discussion. There had been an advance meeting in October. And Rita, I did find my notes taken in that October meeting when DCA was here, bond counsel was here, some other man was here presenting to the three members who showed of the township committee the process of redevelopment, and the vote was taken in December. So the people could see what was being proposed. In this case, nothing has been in the public eye that would cause you to consider voting to authorize something. And there's no transparency here. Why?
Ms. Dix, I totally disagree with you. I think there's total transparency here. Any documents that you want or any member of the public want on this application or any other application that have been filed are obtainable. You can get them.
The transparency I'm talking about is a
You're sitting here acting like we're
presentation.
hiding something from you. We're not hiding anything from you, Ms. Dix.
The transparency I'm looking for is a presentation in here where the five of
Dix,
you all
when-
get to
when
see the same
applicant-
thing.
When the applicant and the redevelopment attorney and us as a township committee decide a presentation will be made, that's when we'll make one. I mean, these individuals are putting out enormous amounts of money in order to put a package together of something that's going to be palatable for the township and the residents. So we have to give them time to do that. You don't start by doing the presentation and then backing into it. The presentation gets developed over the meetings and the workshops. That's how the presentation gets developed.
A conceptual plan is not a big deal to prepare with some drawings that we want to do this or we want to do that. That is not expensive.
Sincerely appreciate your comments, Ms. Dix.
All right, let's go to,
Before we go, I just want to say, on Friday, I asked for information regarding the conditional redevelopments for the, was it JK and L? And basically, all I received was what was already in my packet. I did get a drawing for Hutton. I got a drawing for that. So then, when I came here tonight, I look over and I see this. I was not given this.
why not?
I don't know.
Because it's not for public consumption yet. They
He's
are
not the
available. Did you
public.
attend the workshop? Did he attend the workshop? They were
I
handed out
asked
in
for
the
whatever
workshop.
information was available. How come Ms. Link got it?
I can't tell you that.
I met with Joe on Thursday late afternoon.
So when you came in to review your packet, that's when you received it?
That's when I asked,
And when I came in and got my packet Thursday, I went through it and I emailed on Friday asking for any and all information regarding this.
But if we were-
And
if
all
we're-
I got was this.
But let's just clarify. Mrs. Link said she got it from Mr. Kosecki.
I emailed Mr.
Mr.
Kosecki.
Kosecki was not here when you came in yesterday, I believe, or the day before? So it is a
said Friday.
possibility that he has a copy for you, Mr. Patali.
Well,
He
why
had a copy
doesn't
from
his backup have a copy for me?
I can't
Why
answer.
wasn't it put in your mailbox?
Because it's not for public consumption yet.
His
Apparently,
mailbox
they
is in
reviewed
a
it with
private
Mrs.
locked
Link.
office.
I'm sorry?
The Township Committee office is a private locked office, it's not for public consumption.
Ms. Dix, I appreciate your comments.
Carl, to your point, I didn't get a copy either, but
So how could we vote on something that we didn't even get a basic?
You're not voting on the
Yes.
project. You're voting on the individual, if we get to that, to be named as the redeveloper for the project. That's all you're voting on. This is something we do at many meetings. This is not anything that's new to us.
we're not voting on the project.
We're not voting on a project. All we're going to do is vote to allow them to be the named redeveloper for the project that they would like to do. Then, once that happens, they went to a workshop. Once that happens, they work with the redevelopment attorney. The redevelopment attorney creates a plan. That plan then gets put before the necessary board, whether it's zoning or planning board, and that's when most of the information becomes public. All the information becomes public because they're both public meetings. That's how the process goes, guys. It hasn't changed. It's the way it's always went. It's the way it's going at this point.
Now I'll go to item 6D, the proposed lease for the MUA, which I have the deed for the MUA right here in my possession, and the MUA, New Jersey Bell Systems bought on February 7th, 1940, from William Thorpe, the original Hanthorne Street lot that fronts on Hanthorne Street, and built the brick building with the tan door. The New Jersey Bell Systems added on to the building. You can see the seam and the red brick, where the two red bricks come together in a straight line. That's the addition. It was added on in my lifetime. I'm not sure if it was 3 times or 4 times. The final time was after Frank and Catherine Watson sold their house where we used to trick or treat in the 50s and early 60s, sold their land on Oak Street, which is part of this Bell Atlantic property, which became the MUA property. The building is 1940, it's 82 years old. The MUA bought it in 82, we've owned it for 40 years. We were occupying it in February of 83. And the kinds of questions I want to ask, now that we have some idea of the history of the building, the footprint apparently is the same. The MUA's renovations were to put the double door in, to put some windows in, to make a back exit door, and to bore a concrete block up the door that's part of the men's room now on the parking lot side of the building. What is the race to get the MUA out of that building when the process is going to, it takes a long time for a business to change all their paperwork, all their advertising, all their everything, so that you're not going to have trucks still going there with WB Mason, UPS, FedEx, Amazon, whoever is making deliveries for the vendors that are being bought from for the MUA, those trucks are going to still go there. The 500 or more customers, ratepayers, owners, are still going to go there to pay their building to see a sign on the door, "We moved"?
Ms. Stix, you're assuming that the MUA is not going to notify their customers. I don't know what
You're
you're getting
assuming
at.
they're going to know it.
No, I am not. I am not doing the MUA's work. The MUA has a qualified staff, and they have a great board. That board will notify their ratepayers of their change. I'm absolutely confident. And you say that we're rushing. We're not rushing. This has been talked about since last year. There's no rush here.
Yeah, we know how long it's been talked about.
Okay, Ms. Stix, I'm sorry that you're not a fan of it, but at the end of the day, this is the decision that that board has made, and it's great for the ratepayers and the taxpayers. So I applaud the move, and I can't wait until they do.
I 1,000% disagree that it's good for the ratepayers who have already paid you $2,930,800, and this year's number I have not received yet.
Ms. Stix, I'll ask you again. When you were on Township Committee, you approved 3 budgets. Did you approve the budgets with the MUA's $250,000?
Was I included in the budget process? The answer is
Ms. Stix,
no.
then
Did I vote
can't
for a
imagine-
budget? Yes.
Ms.
Did
Stix,
I have
cannot
any
imagine
access to
a
the
woman
budget
of your
preparation?
caliber and
Absolutely not.
intelligence signed off on a
You're
budget
too
and voted
much.
for approval on a budget without knowing what was in the budget.
I want to ask you about the agreement of sale. What's the price you're going to pay us ratepayers for our building?
Ms. Stix, I believe you have a copy of the contract, and
I have a copy
know
of the
that
deed.
you did Oprah it.
I have
so-
the copy of the deed.
Okay, so you know the amount, Ms. Stix.
No, I have the copy of the deed from Bell Telephone to HTMUA, 1982. $65,000 we paid for the building. What are you going to pay us ratepayers for our building?
The
knowing
agreed
two
upon
of the
amount
5 of
that
you are
the
not
board
ratepayers.
and the township agreed on. That's the amount. I will get that for you, Ms. Stix.
Now let's go to your plan, which is to tear it down or try to tear it down, which means it's going to sit as a vacant building indefinitely. My question now is to the soft costs. How much will it cost for you to get a use variance the same as was required on the parking lot across the street in a residential zone? You need a use variance. What do you think that's going to cost?
Ms. Stix, again, I talked about the process of how things are done. We have to, there was no sense us going through that process until we had an agreement with the MUA. You have to take one step at a time, and that's what we're doing, Ms. Stix.
We all get an estimate of closing costs before we go buy a house, and we certainly should have had
Ms.
an
Stix,
idea what it's going to cost the taxpayers for this dream of a parking lot on Kent Skull.
You're making more of the issue with the building than the issue of what really happened here. What we've done collectively between the MUA and the township is we've reduced the footprint of government by making it easier for them to be in this building. We've reduced their operating costs for the next 10 years, and we've made it more convenient for the ratepayers and taxpayers that pay their taxes and their sewer and water bills to come to one location. And we've made it more secure for the women that work in that office, Ms. Dix, that are there by themselves, and now they will be here with the police department next door.
They're in a building with security, and security meaning locked doors and alarm systems. So
I think
let's
they're gonna
not
be a lot more
pretend for
comfortable
40
here,
years
Ms.
they've
Dix.
been at risk.
I think they'll be a lot more comfortable here.
I still want to talk about the soft costs. The HPC is going to have to approve it. The Pinelands is
I
going
do
to
not
have
have
to.
those numbers for you this evening.
So
We're
you
getting
want to
through
do
the
this,
first part
you
of the
want to do
process.
this project at taxpayer expense, but you don't have any idea what those
Sticks,
closing costs are going to
The
be.
Mays Landing Merchants Associations have told us for years on this committee that their issue with downtown is they don't have enough parking. By making the deal, which is a great deal for ratepayers and taxpayers with the MUA, we may be able to move on to the next step and offer them parking at the same time. We don't know that yet, but that's what the plan we'd like the plan to be.
It will be what you try to make
Ms.
it.
Sticks,
Let's
let me
see
ask
how
you one-
far it goes. Thank you.
Chief, If I may?
Yeah, please.
Okay. I've been in commercial real estate for 30 years, and I've bought and sold buildings. And even from the government perspective, prison quarters are 8 by 8. A typical 1,000 square foot houses about 10 people. That facility is probably, what, 1,000, 2,000 square feet?
Not
So
even.
at any given time, there should be 8 to 10 people in there. Our last count, there's about 4 to 5. It's not economically feasible to have a 2,000 square foot building for 4 to 5 people. It's much more economically, it makes a lot more sense to consolidate. Bringing them into this, paying the utilities and stuff allows the MUA to use those funds for other resources. I hear you that you don't want to sell the building. I hear you that you don't want the people to move out. But it is really hard to sit up here and cost justify 4 people sitting in a building that's worth $600,000, $700,000, $400,000. I'm just confused by
Wonderful
that.
that you're congratulating us for running a lean, mean machine with people who work a 40-hour week, who can't have a cell phone on their desk and get a 30-minute lunch. We've run lean and mean and kept our costs
Dix,
down,
you're saying
and now
we.
you're attacking us because we were so lean and mean. Thank you.
No, Ms. Dix,
I'm confused. Are you a member of the MUA? You keep saying we. I'm very confused at the moment. And I noticed that, you know, you have no, you go on social media and you post things about a forced move. We have the MUA chairwoman sitting in the back. This is not a forced move. This is a welcome move. Please do not spread rumors and lies on social media, Ms. Dix. It is very untruthful. It's not fair. You took a shot at the cops with the same post, and you took a shot at us with the MUA. This is not a forced move, Ms. Dix, and the cops are doing their job on Park Road, okay? So at the end of the day, Ms. Dix, we made a great deal for the taxpayers and the ratepayers. I thank you for your comments. All right. Anyone else? Cynthia?
I didn't know I had signed.
What are you referring to, my man? What item do you want to talk about?
6E.
Come on up.
What is it, 6B?
6E.
6E, the same one.
Yep. Would you state your name and address, please?
Yeah, sure. It's Frank Roby, 309 Farragut Avenue.
Thank you, Frank.
I guess the question is, after you buy the building, is there going to be a public hearing to go over?
Everything is done in the public.
Okay.
So, yes, whatever happens there, it'll go through a process in Town Hall for the conceptual plan. That plan will then go before the public.
Okay, so if you go to plan to knock it down, we're going to get a chance to at least say,
It will be listed on an agenda just like this.
okay,
And that's why we keep encouraging people, and I encourage you to go home, tell your friends and family to please either attend these meetings, the first and third Monday of the month, or view it online when it's posted several days later so that they can be informed and see what really happens instead of people getting their information off of Facebook.
it's much better to do it online because then you can just fast forward.
There you go.
Okay, so there will be a.
It certainly will. Thank you, Frank.
good job.
Is there any,
There's no
no one
others.
else? Okay. We'll move on to 3, discussions. Formal action may be taken. A, road paving and sidewalk improvements. Ms. Hopkins?
So part of our package,
It's, could we have Brett Knoll give us a summary of what this is all about? No. Can we have Brett Knoll give us a summary of this proposal?
Brett, would you like to give a summary of what this is all about? I assumed so, because
It's
Ms.
the-
Hopkins
it's
put this on the
road
agenda, but
department.
thank you.
It's the road department.
There's an honest answer.
Yes.
Well, okay, what roads are you proposing? When would you propose to put this out to bid, and so on and so forth?
I'm sorry, Gina, I'm confused. What are you talking about?
Well, I think we're talking about the same thing as the road department,
Yeah, but I'm
paving and sidewalk improvement.
talking generically now. I'm trying to figure out the long-term process. There's an attachment in your file from 2008 where Mr. Sachinelli describes a database for road improvement plans, and that was how they used to do it. Last week, we had a Mr. Eggy come in, and he had signatures from senior citizens that they were told by Mr. Vitale, I guess, that you need to have you need to have signatures from everybody on your road if you want
I
your road.
absolutely did not tell them that. In fact, I sent an email saying that they told me they had a letter and that they were going to put together signatures. And I sent that email to let everybody know what was going on.
Okay, because there is confusion on that, and so the reason Brett and I were talking and we brought this to the forefront is we do have a road improvement plan. We do not require signatures. So we will make a point to reach out to Mr. Eggy and the 200 residents and confer with them on that.
It's not 200 residents.
It's 37, and I have already started that process.
Thank you,
And
sir.
they will all be getting a letter from us stating that was not necessary because their road that they were informed to go and get a petition to get done.
They were not informed to go and get a petition.
I'm just telling you what's being said. And it's on the road program for this year. So that road, it was an unnecessary step for those individuals to have to take because their road is already on the road program and will be paved, assuming that we get the road program out to bid, which is being delayed now because of Atlantic Avenue, correct?
Correct.
Well, I think we'll have discussion on that further this evening.
Yes.
Okay. Then Carl, then to close this out, Mr. Sacchedelli refers to a process that was back in 2008. Sastelli, thank you, I'm sorry. When Brett came on board in 2009, he was not apprised of this process. And since 2013, Brett's been, collaboratively working on this road improvement plan with the committee. So we're moving forward with this as our process. And Brett, you're very comfortable with this road improvement process and stuff? Okay. Do we put this into a policy? Do we put this into an ordinance? How do you encapsulate the town's process so that we don't have residents going out and doing signatures when they want the road paved? How does that?
Listen, Ms. Hopkins, up until this point, I didn't think that was necessary, and I thought that it was pretty much understood. I mean, the road program is announced, and the roads are announced. I don't know what happened in this particular situation.
Okay.
It shouldn't be that way. At the end of the day, our road program this year, just for the public's benefit, is $1.4 million, which is the largest road program we've had in many years, and we're still $8.5 million behind. So at the end of the day, I want asphalt on the roads. I don't think there's any excuse for it not to be. I'm hearing excuses that the asphalt prices are coming down. Well, guess what? They could go up in 2 months. We don't know what's going to happen. Once demand goes back up, crude oil is going to go up, asphalt's going to go up. We should be laying asphalt. That's one person's opinion, and I would like to see that happen sooner than later.
Okay, then I'd like to dovetail into a sidestep of this in the sidewalks. And the question now is directed kind of at Joe and at Brett. We did sidewalks on Third Road. They did a fabulous job. My question is, did all of the residents agree to their sidewalk, the houses that didn't have the sidewalks prior to that? Were they apprised, and did they agree to those sidewalks, or did we buy, what was the easement? How did we acquire, how did we get those sidewalks on those houses that didn't have sidewalks with the struggle that we're having on Park Road? How did that work?
Well, there was actually very few. There was about 4 locations that we were kind of filling in the blanks. One in particular was complete within a right-of-way, and most of the road had sidewalks and were replaced within a right-of-way, so that didn't require any easements. There was another section that we were trying to save the tree. I think it was, I forget the address, but it was on the first
Mike
block.
Colchin's house.
Yeah, so we wanted to make sure that we went around the tree, and he actually gave verbal approval. Now, some of the information I got from my partner, Steve, I was involved with the original design, but I did, follow up with him on that, and even during construction. And then there's the other section that Wawa kind of just stopped their sidewalk, so we filled in the blank from there to basically Farragut. And then once you get close to Farragut, the neighbor on the corner, it was about 2 feet on his property, 2.5 feet, something like that. But no, there wasn't any formal discussions or easements as part of that application.
Well, I think what Ms. Hopkins is asking, how were we able to obtain the additional sidewalk from where Wawa stopped? Because there's a residential lot there and
There's a vacant lot there, yes.
How did we do that without encountering the same situation that she's encountering with Park Road?
I guess it just wasn't an issue back when that was designed, a year ago or 2 years ago.
Did we offer him money for the
Bob,
easement?
45 houses, Sue. Now stop comparing it. It's not a comparison.
Oh, it absolutely is,
She's merely
Jim.
asking questions about the
Well,
process.
she's comparing And she also and I are on the road department.
Mrs. Link, she's perfectly in her right to ask why one set of rules for one area where there's sidewalk to be installed, and another set of rules for another area where sidewalk wants to be installed. She's perfectly in her right, and the question's being answered.
Well, the one sidewalk that was new, it was a continuation of sidewalks that were already there. So,
That is a private building lot and a private home where the extension went. She's asking, how did,
yeah, but
because
the
they're
difference
building the right of
is,
way.
the
Are they building the right of way?
difference is
They're
that
building
it
the right of way
was-
there, so why can't they
it
build
was
in the right of way
already-
on Park Road?
It was already, there were already sidewalks there, and it was just a continuation of those sidewalks.
There was not sidewalk there. If you listen to what Mr. Malfi just said, it was a continuation of where Wawa stopped their sidewalk. There was not sidewalk. They didn't replace it, they added new. The question that Ms. Hopkins posed is, how did they get that done on that street, and we can't get that done on Park Road? It's a
Because
very
there was
legitimate
no
question.
objection.
Well, we
So
will-
from Wawa down, was that in the right of way?
No, Wawa, when they built that site, their sidewalk was actually on their property.
And it would have been part of their site plan.
It would have been part of their site
But
plan.
I mean continuing down, that empty lot there,
No, we brought it
that-
back and stayed within it until you got to the.
so that was
right at
in
end.
the right of way.
Correct. And then
So
once you get
that's
down to the
reason why she's
corner,
asking the question.
it went over the property line about 2 feet or something like that.
Was Wawa asked to,
So it actually-
when they received, excuse me, when they received their okay to go ahead and build Wawa or change the use, were they asked then at that time to put a sidewalk in?
I mean, I wasn't part of the presentation at that point, but I would imagine that sidewalk was probably required as part of their site plan application.
Yeah,
But
because
Mrs.
that
Lane-
happened in all the planning boards that I've been apprised to. Look at Tavistock, you know? From Tavistock down to Wawa on Route 40, they had to put that whole sidewalk there.
But the planning board, of which I've been involved with for 20 years, cannot require an applicant to put sidewalks on somebody else's property. That can only be authorized by the owners of that property. So that's the question. How did it happen there, and it can't happen on Park Road? That's what she's asking.
Well, I don't think it's a fair comparison.
Okay. Ms. Hopkins?
Yeah, so to continue the discussion, Brett, did you have a dialogue with any of the neighbors that we needed the right of way?
We walked the road when we were first talking about construction and applying for the grant, and we knocked on doors, and nobody objected to what we were going to do. We were going to go in and pave the road, fix the sidewalks, fix the curbs. Steve Philippone at the time, did speak with the resident beyond the Wawa there.
Right. The
And
vacant lot.
He was concerned about keeping the sidewalk continuous to Shaner School. There was no objection from that resident about extending the sidewalks through their property, nor was there objection down where that tree was. We had to, instead of cutting the tree down, we went around the tree, which required us to go within the property. So at the time, to answer your question, no, we did talk to the residents that were impacted, but there was no objection at the time.
Do you want to expand on?
No, we'll do a sidebar later.
You got it. I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Committee, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to B. This is creating a .gov domain name for the Township of Hamilton. Chief?
So as you guys are all well aware, our current email address is very lengthy, and it's also not regulated. So as it is right now, basically anybody can get an email address that isn't a .gov. So .govs are regulated. It gives some validity to our email address. So what we're suggesting is that we change our email address, but we want to leave it up to you guys.
Okay.
And I say that with the laugh because I need you guys all to agree on something. Wasn't saying that facetiously, but maybe I was, I'm not sure. But anyway, so what we would like to change it to, because I'm using, at least to myself, is tohnj.gov. So it shortens it up quite a bit. Our old email address will run concurrently with our new one for about 2 years, 3 years, and then it'll just fade off into the sunset. What do we think?
Question.
What?
In the beginning names, like S. Hopkins or C. Kane, is there any change to that? Are you thinking about a middle initial?
My understanding, no. Just the last part is what's changing.
Okay. I'm good.
So you think that's a little more efficient than townshipofhamilton.com?
Yes, I would
Just a little
say
bit?
so,
All right.
yeah, especially when you have a long name like myself, so. you know.
Chief, you're just looking for a general consensus of agreement this
Yeah,
evening?
to be very honest with you, the administrator and Anthony, we can do all the paperwork. I don't believe, it might need your signature, so I guess there would have to be some sort of vote.
Committee, any other questions or comments? Do we support this move?
In terms of comments, the .gov has a lot more strength in terms of securing the emails
Okay.
and the spam, so I wholly support it.
Agreed.
I'd recommend a resolution.
There's no resolution written, Bob. Can we do it by motion?
You go by motion.
All right, hearing the clerk, is this something the committee wants to do? If so, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion by Ms. Hopkins,
Second.
second by Mr. Cheek. Rita, let's roll call it, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Ms. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
I'd like more of a reason for changing it. I would say no at this time.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Mayor Kane?
You didn't get your wish, Chief. We tried. I vote yes.
4 yes, 1 no, motion carries.
All right. Moving on, we'll go to public hearing, adoption of ordinances. For the first one we have this evening is Ordinance 2003-2022. This is an ordinance establishing Exhibit A, Section 1, Article 2 of Chapter 66 of the Code of the Township of Hamilton, providing for the maximum number of its employees, specifically the fire administrator reporting to the chief of police. This public hearing was held on and closed on 7/18/2022. Mr. Salmon?
You have several choices. You can adopt it, or you can reject it and move on to 5D.
So essentially, committee, and for the public, what this first, we took action on this, we held a public hearing, we realized that some of the language needed to be changed, so the issue in front of us tonight is to make further action on this. We either have to vote it up, vote it down, and then further on along in the agenda, we have another ordinance to be introduced with the correct language in it. Committee, what's your pleasure?
So moved.
To
To just go ahead and vote this one down.
To adopt,
No, shoot.
second to adopt, and then you would vote no if you don't want to adopt it.
Oh.
You have to make
Move
Bob?
to adopt.
you make the motion in the affirmative,
affirmative, that's the word.
but if you're against the affirmative motion individually, you can all say no. Or
Move to-
majority of you can say no.
Move to adopt, but then we can vote no, correct?
God, I feel like I'm
It
getting
does the
more
same
points.
thing, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so go
Okay.
ahead.
Go ahead, motion.
Motion, move to adopt.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Rita, could I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Cheek?
No.
Ms. Hopkins?
No.
Mrs. Link?
No.
Vitale?
No.
Mayor King?
Chief, you ready for this? No. All
Unified.
5.
The ordinance is
Thank you.
defeated.
All right, next we'll move on to B, Ordinance 2005-2022. This is an ordinance authorizing the sale of Lot 11 in Block 227 as shown on the tax map of the Township of Hamilton and granting to the owner or owners of said real property contiguous to the same the right to prior refusal to purchase such land in the Township of Hamilton, County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey, specifically Creek Road. Committee, this is a land sale. The contiguous owner, they had purchased one piece prior. This is another piece for it. It is an FA 70 zone, and I believe it does say that it's undersized.
It is undersized.
4.45 acres.
I'll motion.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a
Second.
second. Is there any comments or on the motion? Hearing none. Rita, could I get a roll call, please?
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, next.
Oh,
You know-
public hearing.
Public hearing on this.
We rolled right through.
Oh, okay. Well, wait, we already had the public hearing.
Not on the
Not on that ordinance.
Oh, forgive me. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to speak on this ordinance? Mr. Carrigan, please.
Hearing will be held
Thank you.
Yeah, hold on a second.
December 6th.
I have a question for you.
Oh, no, that's on the next one.
Where's our Creek Road at?
I'm sorry?
Where's Creek Road?
Creek Road is in the
It wa-
Weymouth
Yeah,
section.
near Weymouth, between the Black Horse Pike and the Expressway.
Yes.
Okay.
Does it have trailers on it?
Is there anyone else in the public that wishes to speak on this matter? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
Motion,
Second.
second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right. Now we'll move on to 5A, ordinance.
We have to vote on it, right?
We did, didn't we?
You didn't vote.
You got to
Now we have to-
Rita, please.
Well, Richard Cheek made a motion to adopt before. You're still making that motion?
Yes.
And still Hopkins seconded?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Ms. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Blank?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Mayor King?
Yes.
All yes and adopted.
All right. Next, 5A, introduction of ordinance, public hearing to be held September 6th, 2022. The first one is ordinance 2006-2022. This is an ordinance establishing a special commission known as the Economic Development Commission of the Township of Hamilton, Atlantic County. Bob, this was put on, would you give us a little update on this, Bob, please?
Sure. The idea behind this was the recognition that the Hamilton Business Park has been successful in completing contracts and sales, including a 98-acre piece, several other large pieces, several small pieces. And it's anticipated that the way that things are going, they may run out of land in the near future.
Amen.
So the idea of a development commission was to allow a new committee to be formed, taking outside members as well as perhaps the members of the industrial commission, should they choose to want to be there, to acquire, develop, and sell real estate, and assist in the economic development as it relates to the township as a whole. So it's a more global scope than what we have in the industrial commission, and it goes outside of the business park. There are 11 members. They're appointed for 5-year terms. The powers are spelled out in the ordinance, which I drafted in Section 7. And in large measure, it includes the powers that the Industrial Commission currently has.
Good work, Bob. Thank you. Very good.
I have one question.
Committee, questions?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Ms. Hopkins spoke first. Yes, Ms. Hopkins.
She did?
Yes, she did.
Well,
Bob, in this ordinance, I was curious about, we make a distinction of advertising, and I see a difference. I see marketing and advertising. And I'm wondering if we can include the word marketing in this. And the best analogy I can give is East Coast Roofing. Larry paid $1,000 for the jingle, East Coast Roofing and Siding, and then on the radio, he pays to advertise using that jingle. And so there's a distinction I see between marketing and advertising, and I'd like to have us include marketing so that we look at some long-term goals that would help us with the advertising aspect.
Well, in point of fact, we are marketing the business park now, and in the past, we had a marketing agent, but we're marketing it now through the real estate agency, and it's been quite successful. So I think that the advertising and marketing go hand in hand when you're talking about real estate development.
Okay. So you don't think we need to put marketing in there?
I don't think it's
Let it
necessary.
go? All right, good to go.
Okay, what are the caps on the advertising? Do they have an unlimited amount of money to spend on advertising?
We don't spend any money as a commission on advertising.
Okay,
The real estate agency does it through their own electronic means, their own paper means, their own multiple services. Before it was Glen Cove, it was Tony DiDio. He was very aggressive in the marketing, very tied into the industrial and commercial properties in South Jersey. Before that, we actually had a marketing agent who had a budget, but we haven't had that in probably 15 years.
my question also is M, to enter into contracts. Is that something they
which
would
one,
do,
Judy?
or?
Which letter, Miss Lindsay?
It's, let me see. It's
M.
It's duties and powers. It's M, to enter into contracts.
Are you saying M as in mom?
M as in mom.
Okay. Well, they do have the power to enter into contracts. M does not address that. But it is addressed in other portions of this ordinance, and it certainly is addressed in, what am I looking at here? I got the wrong draft, excuse me, you're right. Thank you. Yeah, it's the same as the Industrial Commission currently has. We are, as a body politic, individually allowed to acquire land and sell land. And we're allowed to do that by Title 40, which is codified into the revised ordinance, creating this commission.
Doesn't the committee have the power to okay the contract?
The mayor has the power to veto the sale of any lands.
Isn't that done by the whole committee?
No, it's done by the mayor.
But then that puts the mayor in a position unequal to the other four people on the dais.
It may do that, but the statute's very specific on that. In any contract for sale of land by the Industrial Commission, the mayor has the veto power. I can think of one situation where that was used by a former mayor. And it's really kind of a protective clause. So that currently exists by statute.
Yeah, because all these things, the contracts with Cannabis we're okaying as we go along. Isn't that something in the
You
industrial?
say okay by you as a committee?
No, by the committee, on the
No.
consent agenda.
No.
It isn't?
The contract for the sale of the land for the development of cannabis was by and through the Industrial Commission. They own the land.
Okay.
What came before
Here in M,
you-
it says resolution of Township of Hamilton supporting the application.
Correct. Them applying for that use on that piece of property which they're trying to acquire.
Okay, so we're approving that.
No,
right?
you're showing support, allowing the state to rely on your support.
Okay, so we're passing that on to the state to okay that.
We're saying to the state that we, as the governing body, believe that this is a good venture for this location and that this applicant is worthy. It's not giving them any rights to build anything or site plan or anything like that.
Okay, so it has a whole process to go through, us giving the resolution to the state investigating whatever, and granting a contract, granting the, say okay.
It's a
for his
procedural,
license, and then they come back and.
it's a
form
procedural prerequisite to obtaining a license.
Okay, all right, but we still vote on it,
Yes, you do.
yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
Emily, is there anything you want to add to that?
So what's happening to the industrial commission? But that still keeps going until the industrial park is all sold out,
Yes.
correct? And then this is just gonna, so my concern here is we're gonna be looking for 11 members.
My gut and my observations, having been your solicitor for over 25 years, is that most of the folks that sit on the Industrial Commission would want to continue in that capacity on this commission.
Well, I mean, well, is this commission, are they both gonna be going at the same time?
Yes.
So they're gonna be adding your meetings every month? I'm just concerned of getting people, that's my concern, is getting people involved and to join this commission.
And throughout this process, we've involved the Industrial Commission, particularly the chair, and discussed those concerns with him. But, you know, in most cases, you're going to have up to 11 members. You'll have X amount attend at each meeting. You probably, you know, unless there's something large on the agenda, you probably won't see 11 members. You'll see those members that are involved in the projects that we're looking at.
I have another question. Is, with the Industrial Commission, do we have people on there for 5 years now?
Yeah.
We have people on there for 5 years. It seems to me a very long time to be on one commission.
It's a very dedicated group of men and women. It rarely changes over in terms of personnel. I've told this story many times, but I learned from Bob Ravel that my job as solicitor for the Industrial Commission is to help make it work, not to be obstructionist. And that's the way I view the activity and the conduct of the Industrial Commission Board as it currently exists.
So in this pattern of 11 members, we're looking at one member shall be appointed for 1 year, one member for 2 years, one member for 3 years, et cetera, et cetera. 2, for the above terms, new members shall have 3 years.
That's typical of all newly created bodies. You want to stagger the terms so that once you get past the first 5 years, every year an appointment is up or 2, maybe 2
Yeah, I
appointments.
realize that's true in the planning board as well. But what I'm saying is that, you know, maybe there is room for new blood to be part of this committee.
This provides new blood.
Yeah, if you read it, read the list of membership and you'll see that.
Well, you don't want any one member having total power over the 11 members, that's all that I'm saying.
That's an impossibility, Mrs. Link. I mean, I don't know how you feel that could possibly happen, but, and again, is there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Cheek,
Second.
second by Mr. Vitale. Read a roll call, please.
Yes.
Ms. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes,
Sally?
Yes.
Mayor King?
I particularly am excited about this one, and I'd like to thank, I see Mr. McFarland in the audience, I see our chairman in the audience. I'd like to thank them for open-mindedly looking at this and realizing what the benefit could really be to this township. We lost $30 million in commercial ratables during the pandemic. This is an opportunity for them to now create this board and look at all the additional property we have out there. By the way, the process we have undertaken in our tax office, we are meeting once a week now, reviewing all the properties that the township owns, and those properties that can be sold to contiguous owners, and those that may work into a plan moving forward with the township. Those properties, too, there's quite a bit of commercial property, will be turned over to the Economic Development Commission to look for ways, along with our Community Development Director, to market those properties to increase the commercial rateable base to offset your personal taxes. So that's the purpose of this board. I'm excited about it. It really is a forward-looking vision for the township, and I really appreciate our Industrial Commission for embracing it and looking forward to getting this accomplished for the township. So I vote yes.
Oh, yes, and introduce.
All right, we'll move on to B, Ordinance 2007-2022. This is an ordinance amending Exhibit A, Section 1, Article 2 of Chapter 66 of the Code of Township of Hamilton, providing for the maximum numbers of employees, part-time communications officers. As you know, folks, we heard from the chief at the last meeting. This is his desire to increase it from 8 to 12 because of the individuals that may only work certain periods of time, and it helps him with coverage throughout the entire 24-hour period that we have to do on a daily basis, correct? Correct. All right. Questions, comments, committee? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Vitale. Second by
Second.
Mrs. Link. Read a roll call, please.
Yes.
Ms. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Sally?
Yes.
Mayor King?
Yes.
All yes and introduced.
All right, we'll move on to C. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 301, Article 1 for Ordinance 2008-2022 of the Code of Township of Hamilton, create a no parking zone on certain portions of West Jersey, Riga Avenue in the Township of Hamilton, County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey. Chief, would you say a few comments on this, please?
Yeah, this issue was brought to light, I believe it was last meeting. A couple emails prior to last meeting going back and forth about people parking their trucks, their buses. We had a trailer that was illegally parked and just left there. So in order to stop that, we decided that we'd make no parking along Riga and West Jersey to eliminate that issue. There was also line of sight issues, so it was a safety issue as well.
Committee, questions, comments of the chief? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Move.
Second.
Motion, second. Rita, roll call, please.
Yes.
Ms. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Sally?
Yes.
Mayor King?
I appreciate this. This is the speed that government should work. Heard last meeting, introduced this meeting. So thank you, committee. I appreciate that. I vote yes.
All yes and introduced.
All right, we'll move on to D, Ordinance 2009-2022. This is an ordinance amending Exhibit A, Section 1, Article 2 of Chapter 66 of the Code of Township, providing for the maximum number of employees, fire administrator reporting to the township administrator. Bob, we have a copy of the new ordinance there.
I do.
Committee, questions, comments on the ordinance? I know we've had countless discussions on this.
I understand that the job description is yet to come.
Correct. It is being fine-tuned. Additional comments came in from two chiefs, and we want to incorporate those into the job description. That's why it's not on tonight's agenda.
When the job description comes in and all the comments are adjudicated, will committee have an opportunity to see it before it's?
Absolutely. But before you vote on it, of course, you're going to say
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Then I would so move this one.
I have a motion by Ms. Hopkins,
Second.
second by Mrs. Link. Rita, could I get a roll call, please?
Yes.
Ms. Hopkins?
Yes.
Ms. Link?
Yes.
Sally?
Without a job description, I'm voting no.
Mayor King?
Yes. All right.
1 no. Motion carries.
All right, we'll move on to 6, awards of bids, contracts, and change orders. First one is 6A. This is a resolution authorizing the purchase of bulk salt from the Atlantic County Co-op for 2022 and 2023 season at $77.77 per ton. The total cost is not to exceed $286,000, and authorizing the Director of Public Works to sign the same.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Cheek.
Second.
Second, Ms. Hopkins. Rita?
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Ms. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Sally?
Yes.
Mayor King?
Yes. B, we'll move 6B, resolution authorizing the Township of Hamilton to enter into a contract with the County of Atlantic regarding brine for rock salt materials exchange, authorizing the mayor and clerk to sign the same.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Hopkins. Second by?
Second.
Second by Mr. Cheek. Rita?
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Ms. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Sally?
We have the brine equipment, Brett? I know last year we were still working on it. We're all good to go? Yes.
Mayor King?
Yes.
All yes and carried.
We'll move on to C, 6C, resolution to amend Resolution 2022-0058, award a contract to Professional Property Tax Appraisers, Inc. for residential inspections and measurement services for 2022 to increase the not-to-exceed amount from $7,000 to $8,000.
I have a question.
Please.
This is for property assessments, right?
Bill's not here. Cynthia?
Yeah, it is for the property assessment. Bill has indicated that he has an increased need for property appraisals, and it's just a slight increase, so he's asking to increase the amount
So
from
I
seven
gotta ask the elephant in the room question. Zillow and Trilla are free. Why don't we just use them? Well,
I believe
don't-
he needs a certified appraisal from
Okay.
a certified appraiser.
You do.
Yep.
Anyone else have questions regarding this?
So moved.
It's for defense and tax court, so.
You comfortable with that, Ms. Hopkins?
Yeah, I'm good.
I have a motion by Mrs. Link.
Second,
I have a second by Ms. Hopkins. Rita, could we get a roll call, please?
Yes.
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 Yes. Next, we'll move on to 6D, Resolution Authorizing a Lease Agreement between the Hamilton Township Municipal Utilities Authority, the HTMUA, and the Township of Hamilton for the use of the Hamilton Township office space and authorizing the mayor and township clerk to sign the same. Committee, questions, comments? Motion, please.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Cheek,
Second,
second by Ms. Hopkins.
Comment, please.
I'm sorry?
Comment, please.
Okay, please.
Comments?
I would make that conditioned upon approval of 6E. They're intertwined.
Okay.
So would you amend your motion
To include D and E?
to
and
make
C?
the approval conditioned upon approval of item 6E on tonight's agenda?
No problem. Motion.
Who seconded, Sue?
Rita,
Ready for the roll call?
please.
6E, where is that at?
Should be connected to it.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Ms. Hopkins?
yes.
Mrs. Link?
No.
Mr. Vitale?
No.
Mayor Kane?
Yes.
3 yes, 2 no. Motion carries.
All right, we'll move on to E. This is resolution authorizing an agreement of sale for the purchase of the property located at 6024 Ken Skull Avenue, and also authorizing the mayor and the clerk to sign the same. Any questions, comments? Motion, please.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Cheek,
Second,
second by Ms. Hopkins. Questions, comments on the motion? Rita, roll call, please.
Yes.
Ms. Hopkins?
yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Oh, wait a minute. Let me think of that. Is E connected to D?
Yes, that's what the solicitor outlined.
Yeah, I'd say no.
Mrs. Link votes no. Mr. Vitale?
Just want to make a couple of comments. So I believe Aline already brought this up and said this. That building was built in 1940, 1941. And it is in the historic district. And we will need approval by the HPC to tear it down, because we needed approval, they needed approval to install doors and windows back in November. Because it was stated in the last meeting that it wasn't historical, and it was built in 1983, and the HPC has nothing to do with it. The HPC absolutely has something to do with it, and it was built in 1940. That being said, I don't think it's going to be a very easy thing to tear this building down and turn it into a parking lot. I think, as a ratepayer, I think the MUA should hold on to it and try to sell it on their own. And, I mean, I even heard tonight that it's worth upwards of $600,000, but the MUA is getting $290,000 for it. So that just leads me to believe that maybe somebody's moving a little too fast here, so I vote no.
Mayor King?
Again, these things have been vetted for 6, 7 months. I vote yes.
3 yes, 2 no. Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. We have 7A through Q.
I would like B taken out.
All right, so minus B. Committee, anything else? If they're not, they're,
have a question on G, but I don't know.
Then
that
just,
it'll
let's
stop.
just pull it, we'll pull it, and we'll talk about it, okay? So B and G are coming off.
B, C, and D. B, C, and D, I'd like to vote on that.
J, K, L, M, N, O.
Out, Carl?
Why don't we not do one, Bob, and maybe just take them one at a time?
Well, Rita, I'll read it off as the remainder. Is there anyone else, any other items to be pulled for discussion? If not, I'll move to, I'll entertain a motion to move to consent agenda 7A, E, F, H, I, P, and Q, please.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Vitale,
Second.
second by Ms. Hopkins. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we'll start with 7B. Mr. Cheek.
The reason I asked for this to be removed is I have some concerns with the engineer's report. I have phone calls in with the engineer. We have not touched base. We're playing phone tag, and I would just rather wait to get some answers done and then move it on in the future.
So you're going to move the table?
Yes.
I have a motion to table B.
I'll second
I
that.
have a second by Mr. Vitale. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. B is tabled. C, Mrs. Link, please.
I haven't seen the punch list because it is incomplete. I believe it should be denied. The punch list for items for the Outback Steakhouse.
Committee, any other questions regarding that?
C
It
is
says
denying it.
Yes.
Yeah, we are denying it
Okay.
according to, but I just wanted to add that the reason we are denying it is because the punch list that is, cleaning up their backyard or whatever it is, Outback
So you
Steakhouse.
support it being denied?
I support it.
Would you make that as a motion?
Yeah,
Motion by Mrs. Link to deny the release,
Second.
second by Mr. Vitale. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. All right.
On D, Mr. Mayor, that should say 5,000. The safety and stabilization grant, safety and stabilization guarantee is 5,000.
Thank you.
Not 17,000.
Thank you, Rita.
I
Oh,
found-
on the agenda, okay.
On-
Mrs.
just
Link?
Gotcha, on the
everything
agenda.
else
I
is
gotcha.
correct.
Are you saying on D?
Yeah. This is correct. The agenda's wrong.
Oh,
This is correct.
Do you have additional
No, the
comments on D, Mrs. Link?
revised, right here.
Mrs. Link, you asked this to be pulled. Do you have comments?
Well, again, the reason for denying it, it has not completed its punch list, so I just wanted to emphasize that.
So are you supporting the denial again?
Yes,
Would you make that in a motion?
yes,
Moved by Mrs. Link, seconded by
Second.
Ms. Hopkins. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we'll move on to G. This is a resolution authorizing renewal of inactive liquor license with special ruling, Famous Dave's Ribs for 2022-2023 license term. Ms. Hopkins?
I just wanted to know, does this mean Famous Days is coming back, or that someone is acquiring this lease?
Our clerk could answer
I
that
can
for us.
answer that. This is a special ruling from relief from the Director of Division of Local Government Services. Once a license goes inactive, they have 2 years to sell. The 2 years is up, they did not sell, so they would lose the license. However, you can petition the Director for special relief under special circumstances, and you can show the Director that you're attempting to sell it. and save your license, which is what they did. That's why they weren't renewed in June, so it takes a little bit. I'm not sure I would reveal if I knew that someone was looking at this or not.
That's okay.
So I'll just keep that
You answered my question, thank you.
for right now.
So I would so move this one.
All right, so we have a motion by Ms. Hopkins,
Second.
second by Mr. Vitale. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we'll move on to J, resolution authorizing the execution of Memorandum of Understanding Designated Trophy Park, New Jersey LLC, the conditional redevelopment for Block 1327, Lots 1 and 2, Block 1328, Lots 1 and 2, Block 1170, Lots 1 and 2. Mr. Vitale. please.
Well, as discussed before, I asked for information about this. This is a pretty big deal to be getting involved with, and I really didn't receive any information. Went online, looked at Trophy Park online, I guess what they planned on doing up in Jackson. I don't know, I just wish there would have been more information, so you kind of would have had an idea of what was going on here.
But this is, I'm sure you.
I understand
It's
that.
designating them, they bought a piece of property, they want to do something with it, they're asking the township for their assistance with it through workshops, planning and zoning, and this is the next step, to enter into a redevelopment agreement.
From what I've heard about the Trophy Park, it will, as they propose, bring a lot of jobs into our community. They will also provide roadways for people to access the Trophy Park, and that would be a national venue for different sports, and that they would work hand in glove with our sports programs as well. And it has a lot of promise, so I think I would like to okay the resolution. I'm sad that Carl didn't receive this thing. I just happened to say, can I have a copy of that? And I don't think it was put into everyone's, if you would like to just, table it for today and have more time to look at it, that would be agreeable to me as well.
Well, this is what one paragraph says. Whereas the township and conditional redeveloper have engaged in such preliminary negotiations, and the township committee has determined that it is in the best interest of the township to enter into additional negotiations with conditional redeveloper, et cetera. I don't know how I was supposed to garner the information to fulfill what that says.
So Emily Givens, Redevelopment Council for the Township. That means that we met with this proposed conditional redeveloper at the zoning workshop. And they presented their concept plans to the zoning workshop. And after that zoning workshop, a determination was made that it was appropriate to have them post an escrow with the township so that we could engage in formal negotiations to develop a more formal concept, one that can be developed into a redevelopment plan through negotiations with the whole committee, as well as to negotiate a redevelopment agreement. So this agreement itself is to have them post that escrow, first and foremost, and secondly, for us then to begin the negotiation process towards a redevelopment agreement and a redevelopment plan. So the preliminary negotiations were the presentation that was made at the zoning workshop. And that's as far as the negotiations went, because That escrow that's posted is for just that zoning workshop committee to take a look conceptually and give some conceptual feedback to the developer as to whether or not the project as being proposed is going to work. If there are certain things that need to be done ahead of time, sometimes we'll suggest that they go to the Pinelands Commission and get an idea from the Pinelands Commission as to what obstacles they may face before we move forward in something like a memorandum of understanding. But that's the intention, and that was the preliminary negotiation.
And I understand that, but it's just very frustrating to me when I ask for information, and then this shows up the night of the meeting. And I was not afforded the time to take a look at that. That's frustrating to me.
Can I make a suggestion in our process? When the planning and the zoning board does a workshop, if it looks like it's going to be elevated to committee for a vote, then we would like a copy of the paperwork. I tend to agree with Carl on this one. It would have been very beneficial to have had that briefing put into our package. So if it looks like it's going to come to committee for a vote and it's a conceptual plan, I'm with Carl. I would feel, sometimes I can't make the workshop, but I would sure like to know a little bit more about it.
Well, I
That would
can
be awesome.
certainly discuss that with Mr. Kostecki and Ms. Crean, but some of the information may not be, because some of the information is in draft form, conceptually, there may be items that I can't promise you that you'll get, but I will convey that message and that request to Mr. Kostecki, and Ms. Crean is here, so she's heard that as well.
And I mean, because this is a big deal. This is huge. And I don't know if you know or not, but quite a few years ago, Magic Sports was here. And Magic Sports died, and there was uproar in the town and everything like that. So when this gets out, people are going to be asking questions, and I don't want to stand there and go, I don't know. We're in a redevelopment agreement with them, and you don't know what's going on? No, I have no idea. It's 200 acres. I
That's
think
really
they're
what
going
I
to play
want to
soccer.
clarify, is this is not a redevelopment agreement. This is a memorandum of understanding whereby your committee is authorizing our office to work with committee to negotiate a
Right.
redevelopment agreement and negotiate the parameters of a redevelopment plan. So all of those parameters are going to get fleshed out. And then the process is that a redevelopment plan will come before mayor and committee. You'll introduce it as an ordinance. It will get referred to the planning board for them to review for consistency with the master plan and to ensure that other considerations that the planning board may have about that project get fleshed out. And their recommendations come back to mayor and committee. Then you will hold a public hearing on that ordinance and take comments on that plan. And only then will you have a vote for adoption or not.
But if you're bringing it to us now for a vote, it would be greatly appreciated to have a paragraph and a couple pages. So,
It's not that I don't understand that, I'm just trying to explain the full process, that this
Okay,
is the
thank you.
first step in terms of negotiating that redevelopment process. So we're not authorizing a redevelopment agreement at this time. It's the first step, and it actually, most importantly, is to have the redeveloper, conditional redeveloper, post that escrow. And that escrow covers the costs associated with my services, with planning services, so that it is not a township expense, but it is a redeveloper expense.
And I understand that too, but I just think we should, we need to have all the information that's available to us. We
I
need-
agree with
And
you,
I shouldn't have to ask for it, all right? Because coming into tonight, and I saw that, I'm ready to vote no for this. And the gentleman, I believe he's sitting right back there in the blue, he's going to go, wow, well, that's not very good. One of the committee members are voting no. He's not going to have a warm and fuzzy feeling. And that's not fair to him. I mean, I just find it hard to believe that I couldn't get this. This couldn't have been in my mailbox. And I'm not coming down on you. I'm saying this in front of and I'm just looking at you because you're the one there.
understand.
I'm sorry. But I just request it. We need, if there's information available, I believe everybody up here should have that information so that we can come up with a informative decision. That's all.
Noted. Thank you. Any other questions of Emily before she sits down? All right. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion, please.
I move that should be approved. a memorandum.
I have a motion by Mrs. Link.
I second.
I have a second by Ms. Hopkins. Rita, I'd like a roll call on this one, please.
Yes, and may I say, it's just an approval to move forward to continue.
Yes.
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 Yes, I'd like to thank the principal of Trophy Park for considering Hamilton Township. I think it's going to be a great addition. If we can get a product of what the workshop looked at, it's going to be, as Mrs. Link said, this will put South Jersey on the map with this venue if we can bring it to fruition. So we thank them for choosing Hamilton Township and look forward to working with them in the process moving forward. So yes. All right, we'll move on to K, resolution authorizing the execution of memorandum of understanding for designating Fresh Cut Cannabis LLC, the conditional redeveloper for Block 991, Lot 34. Mr. Patali?
No, this one, I'm good with.
All
I
right.
kind of knew what was going on with this.
Is that a
so,
motion?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by Mr. Patali,
Second.
second by Mrs. Link. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There we go. All right, we'll move on to L. This is a resolution authorizing the execution of a memorandum of understanding designated Hutton Street 21 LLC, the conditional redeveloper for Block 1317, lots 1301, 1302, and 15. Carl?
Yeah, same thing, and I was able to get, I got a drawing, if anybody's interested. I don't know if anybody else saw this, but it's a car wash and possibly some type of an oil change place. I won't say
see
it.
the location?
I won't say, yeah, that's perfect. I'm
It's-
very happy to see something happening there. That's fantastic.
Charlie, it's one less piece the Economic Development Commission will have to worry about, so it's
Yeah.
a great project at a great location, so,
We'll give you full credit.
great job. Is that a
So,
motion?
yeah, I'll make that
I have a
motion.
motion by Mr. Patali,
Second.
second by Mr. Cheek. All in favor to signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we'll move on to M, resolution of the Township of Hamilton supporting the application of Fresh Cut Cannabis, Inc. to the State of New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission for a Class II manufacturing cannabis license within the Township of Hamilton, County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey. Carl?
Bear with me here. So the same thing, I had to ask for the information. I asked, for all information that was available, and then I got, a whole packet, and I was able to read through, see what was going on, see what they're putting forth and what they're promising to the township. So it's just, I'm going to say this out in the open again. When something like this comes up, I don't think we should have to ask for this information. It should just automatically be in our packet. We shouldn't have to ask for all of this. And that's all.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Patali. I have a second by, I'll second it. Second by Mr. Kane. Read a roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, we'll move on to N, resolution of the Township of Hamilton supporting the application of Canna Grove, New Jersey LLC to the State of New Jersey Cannabis You just wanted me to read all this. didn't
Now, why don't we just do N and O?
I have a motion to approve N and O.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right. Thank you, Mr. Patali. We'll move on to 8, personnel. First, we have a resolution appointing Jessica Pendlebury as a full-time communications officer for the police department at a salary of $44,001.25, effective date August 16, 2022.
Motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Cheek,
Second.
second by Ms. Hopkins. Madam Clerk, could I get a roll call, please?
Yes.
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 Yes. We'll move on to B, resolution appointing Pamela Jones as a full-time communications officer for the police department at a salary of $46,054.94. This will be effective September 1st, 2022.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Patali,
Second.
second by Ms. Hopkins. Read a roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Tally?
Yes.
Mayor King?
Yes. We'll move on to C, resolution authorizing a change in employment status of Lindsay Pritzka for regular full-time communications officer to regular part-time communications officer at $17.27 an hour, effective September 1st, 2022.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Hopkins,
Second.
second by Carl. Mr. Vitale, Rita, roll call, please.
Ms.
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Lake?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And lastly, we'll move on to D. This is a resolution authorizing the continuation of Lisa Marcolongo's employment with the township on an as-needed part-time temporary basis at $32.08 an hour, not to exceed 10 hours per week.
So moved.
Motion by
Mayor,
Mrs.
Mayor Kane, I have a problem with open-ended labor positions.
Okay.
Can we couch this one at 30 days or 60 days? Can we bind it, and then if we need to extend it, we can?
Are you going to do it upon her replacement? Because right now, there's no one in the office, so.
Are we going to be using Indeed? Are we going to be going?
Well,
out
I
on-
know that several interviews have already taken place for the position.
All right.
I don't know the outcome of those interviews, whether or not.
Do you think within 30 days we'll have a replacement, or 60?
I can't imagine we're not going to, but, you know what the labor's market is like
I
right
do.
now.
We just hired for HPC, and we put one job part-time in, we got 17 respondents, and most of them were full-time, so we had no problem at all. That's why I'm kind of puzzled by the, I could live with the 60-day.
Okay. So not to exceed 10 hours per week or a 60-day duration?
Not
Mr.
10 hours per week, not in 60-day duration, and then if they need more than 60 days, come back
Correct.
to us.
It can be revisited. Mr. Salmon, is that
We do that?
we do that on the fly, or?
You can.
Okay, so are you going to motion that with the 60-day on there?
Yep, I make the motion for part-time temporary for Lisa Marcolongolo, not to exceed 10 hours per week and not to exceed 60 hours per day, or 60
60
days,
Okay.
not to exceed 60 days.
I have a motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Second, please.
Second.
Second by Mr. Cheek. Rita, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, we'll move on to 9, approvals. We'll take the regular meeting minutes of August 1st, 2022 first.
So moved.
Motion,
Second.
second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. B, minutes, executive session meeting minutes, August 1st, 2022.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Cheek, second by Mr. Vitale. Rita, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, we'll move on to C, bills. Bill list total $767,022.71. People want to get paid, folks.
So moved.
I got a motion by Ms. Hopkins,
Second.
second by Mrs. Link. Rita, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. We'll move on to reports. Ms. Lindsay, do you have anything to report this evening?
I have nothing to report, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Solicitor, is there anything that you'd like to add?
What she said.
There you go.
Hey,
Value.
all right,
Mr. Engineer.
At that point,
all
I
right.
have nothing. I can't. No, actually, just real quick, I did meet with the residents of Artist Walk who were out here last meeting, walked the site with them, and I've actually had been in discussions with the developer, so we try to keep that thing moving.
Artist Walk.
Yes.
I thought you said Forest Walk, or Artist
No,
Walk.
Artist
Okay.
Walk, sorry. That's it.
All right,
Did
thank
he
you.
get any more bids or numbers from paving?
Apparently, yes, he has.
Think it's gonna move?
It better. He's got a few more days left, or,
Well,
Mr. Sandman.
we made something happen with the parking out front, so
Yeah.
let's hope things keep moving. Thank you.
How about the finishing up on 3rd Street, the,
yes, it was paved last week, and now all of a sudden, probably create a punch list so we can make sure everything's done. Make sure that the flowers do not come back. And
I
the road
haven't
was
seen
striped the other day
anything
as well.
removed
Yeah.
yet.
That's it.
Appreciate that, Joe. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Link.
Well, I would like to say that we had an outstanding event with the National Night Out. many kudos to our chief and his appointee for making everything happen. And I think the traffic was well maintained, and that we directed people to parking areas. So I think that was, a great asset. And if they want to do it next year there, that would be my vote on that. So that is it.
Is that it? Thank you, Mrs. Link. Mr. Vitale?
Jumping on with what she said about National Night Out, it was a great event, great weather, great turnout. Kudos to the police department, to the chief, to Detective Tannen, to our fire companies for coming out there and spending their time showing everybody their apparatus. Public Works did a great job setting up, breaking down. The food trucks ran out of food. It was a really good time. I didn't hear a single complaint. In fact, up until even yesterday, I ran into some people and they weren't even there. They were across the river watching, and they said it was really nice to see so many people enjoying that park like the old days. We have that beautiful park down there, and it was really great to see so many people enjoying the park. And then the next day, it almost was right back to normal. It was very well cleaned up, and then the green team came. Public Works did a great job cleaning it up. Then the green team came on Saturday, and I think picked a little bit more up, and it was like nothing happened there. So kudos to absolutely everybody. The sponsors, too many sponsors to list. Couldn't have done it without them. It was really a great event. Coming up, we have boat races, September 10th and 11th at Lake Lenape. Got the local merchants involved with sponsorships. So the Winding River Boating Association is very excited to get all this sponsorship coming out to help them out and maybe get more boats down there and start lifting the boat races up and getting more people involved, more people to come down there and watch. So please come down the 10th and 11th. It's free. Just go to the Cove. You see the boat races right from there. You can watch it from Lake Lenape West. And it's a good time. So really looking forward to that. And Lake Lenape East is getting closer. I'm going to look at Eric. Still middle of September? He's not. He won't even say anything. Like, he's good guy. No, he's like being put on the spot. But it's getting close. It's got to be getting close. It looks great. Drive back there a couple times a week to see what it looks like. Looks fantastic from the lake. So really looking forward to that opening. And it's an asset. It's Atlantic County that's taking care of that. And it's right here in our backyard. And as soon as it opens, I hope everybody heads down there. I hope the weather's still good to go down and enjoy it. I'm seeing weddings there almost every weekend. And the people are still going out and getting their picture taken with the lighthouse in the back. So that's just, it's a great thing. It brings people into town. So just, that's great. 3rd Street's done, well, not totally done, but 3rd Street looks good. Hopefully people don't turn it into a raceway. What's that?
It already had, we're dealing with it.
Already? Yeah. But, yeah, so you go down 3rd Street, please slow down. I know it's nice and smooth, and it's really exciting to be on that nice, smooth road, but slow down.
the potholes
And
back,
And
right?
school's coming up, so keep that in mind, too. And that's it. That's it for me. Reagan, Maddie, miss you, love you, hope to see you soon.
Great, thank you. Ms. Hopkins?
Well, Britt, you did an amazing job with the National Night Out. And then you got blown out of the water this week on Facebook, and I truly apologize for that. All the tremendous accolades, and they were just spoken by Mr. Vitale, were kind of negated with some of the attacks this week on Facebook. We have 12,000 people that watch this Facebook site. And so when you have someone that works as hard as Brett and his team that spends an inordinate amount of time getting a successful event, and when they do that, something else lapses that wasn't even on their watch, the citizens will come back pretty hard, and they did. So we hope we've cleared the air with most of that, Brett, but again, wonderful job, thank you. And folks, be very sensitive to what you post on Facebook. Mr.
Mr. Cheek. Thank you, Ms. Hopkins.
I echo the thoughts of everyone else as far as National Night Out with the police, the fire departments, and Public Works. They couldn't have done a better job. Lastly, on a personal matter, myself, my daughter, and 3 of my grandchildren are trying to achieve the status of a Guinness Book of World Record this Saturday
Oh, fantastic.
for the largest kayak event up in Tom's River. So if we're successful, we beat a city in Poland, and 3 generations of my family will be in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So I'm excited. Hopefully, next time I tell you we're in.
Can we try to beat it next year on Lake Lenape?
I don't see why not, to be honest with you. I'll be honest with
Exciting
you.
event.
The world record is 330 kayaks.
That's it?
That's it. And that's in Poland. Now, these people in Tom's River are trying for 400. So there's no reason why we couldn't beat that around here.
Sounds like a challenge.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how you do. You'll report back.
I
on
got
what
6
you do.
kayaks at my house.
Hey, I went practicing this week, and I was the laugh of the furnace. I had a granddaughter in a kayak. I go to get in. She leaned. I leaned. We flip over. Fixed it again. We flipped over again.
Well, good luck.
Good luck. We hope that
Thank
works
you.
out for you.
I was going to say, I did donate to the K-9 unit, and I won a kayak. So that's another kayak we have. It's a blue
I hear,
kayak.
we're up to
getting there.
11 right now. Show of hands for kayaks, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, here we go.
We'll get it next
We're
year.
there. Shoot. All right. Well, I think it sounds like a challenge, and I think we'll wait to see the outcome of what happens in Tom's River. I have a couple things that I was asked to report on. One, we've already done it here in the township earlier on in the year when we extended our outdoor dining. Just a note, the governor now has done it through 2024 in the entire state. It's something that I'd like to see stay. I think it really adds character, and it really adds just a uniqueness, and it makes your event, going out even more enjoyable. So yeah, I believe this committee, we're all in agreement. When 2024 comes, we're going to still extend it here in Hamilton Township.
So we have to extend it again ourselves?
We're going to have to make it permanent, yeah, so. But, that's a nice thing. The other thing I was asked to report on is, there is a free weatherization clinic covering Atlantic and Cape May counties. It is income-driven. They will do a free weatherization on your home, and you can reach out to them at www.saveenergynj.com or 856-455-0600. You can get help with winterizing your home, hot water heater, repair or replacement, and, I hate to say it, but winter is right around the corner. We're seeing it with the cooling off right now, so if you know someone that can take advantage of it, please give them that information. Can we get that posted on the website? It is already? Thank you, Lisa. Yep. Lastly, again, I echo the comments as Richie said about National Night Out. It was a great event. Again, I remember in my youth, the events were held there. It did bring back a lot of memories. Really enjoyed it, and hats off to everyone involved. Let's not forget, 4-H had their event this weekend. It was nice to see with all the volunteers out there, they finally had a weekend that wasn't 100 degrees for the 4-H fair. It was widely successful. I was out there to judge the car show contest on Friday evening. They had over 70 cars this year, which was nice. It was nice to see. The goal next year is for over 100. They did a great job, and anytime we can keep, I say it all the time, when we can keep our youth engaged, when we give them something to do, we keep them out of trouble, and that's the most important thing we can do as a community, as parents, and as a community. So with that, I have nothing else, and I'll open it up to the public. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to speak this evening? Sir?
Frank Roby, 309 Farragut Avenue. I just wanted to reiterate one more time, I hate to see that building torn down and a parking lot put there.
We appreciate that, right?
It could be a senior center, they could sell it. there's so many more uses for that. As far as parking, the lack of parking, I guess, is the reason that you want to destroy that building. I don't see it. I mean, I drive by these people. Every business there has some sort of parking. I don't see the need. If you look at the two churches and the Dementia Center, whatever it's called, Earth Angels, between those three businesses, there's got to be 50 or 60 parking spaces. Could the township not rent some of the parking spaces there? I mean, instead of destroying that building, 10 space, I don't know, I think I looked it up, that building is on a third of an acre lot. So you're looking at, what, a dozen cars that you could fit in there, that you could still get out of there? Rent the spaces. I mean, I'm sure those people, the churches and that Dementia could use the income and, do it on a temporary basis just to see if people use them. I mean, I think, the locals are going to use them to, instead of parking in their driveway, they can park in a parking lot. But I just hate to see a building get
We
destroyed.
appreciate that, Frank. Thank you. Anyone else in the public that wishes to speak? Seeing none, I'll entertain.
Man, he didn't want me to speak, did he?
You're part of public?
Yeah,
I was just being nice to see if anybody else wanted to speak. Now, I just want to say a couple things. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but National Night Out was a huge success, probably the best event that we've had since I've been employed here, 25 years. Not because of me, but because of is that boring? All right.
They're really holding them in here, come on.
Really, yeah, look.
Not just because of me, but because of the people that we work with in this township. They made it a success. Public Works, Mike Tandem, just everybody that volunteered, and the sponsors, of course. So I just wanted to thank all them publicly.
And the
besides
schools,
putting on
the
big-
schools came out in.
And the schools
in
came
force.
out. Everything was great. Everything, I held my breath because you never know if something bad's going to happen. But everything went so well, there wasn't one problem. So once again, thank you, and thank you guys for allowing me to do what I do.
Appreciate you, Chief. Thank you.
I also might add that was the first time we've had fireworks in several years, which was a fantastic thing.
All right. Chief, you okay if I close it now? Yes. Is there anyone else in the public that wishes to speak? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
Motion? Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion. Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.